70, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
In times of joy, in moments of grief, broadcasters come through, even when all else fails. Today, with more ways than ever to experience the moments that transform our lives, Americans still choose broadcast radio and television more than all other media combined. We are the local broadcasters of radio and television, reaching more people, touching more lives. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Know Nothing Show with Alan Elkins and Rich Freedman, who have been in the legal profession for over 30 years and now want to share their experience and knowledge with you, the public. Hey, maybe they do know a little something. Join Alan and Rich by calling in at 888-565-1470 or watching them on elkinsandfreedman.com on Monday nights. And now, here's Alan Elkins and Rich Freedman.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Alan Elkins, and as you see by the empty mic, that's where normally Richard Freedman would be sitting, but as is often the case, he's late. So what can I tell you? You know, I'm here, we'll fly solo. That idiot will be running into the room in any moment, so we'll just have to wait. All right, so what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, first, I hope everybody had a nice 4th of July. I know that I certainly did, and I don't want to brag about it, but I think I said in an earlier show that I'm married to a flight attendant, and it just so happened she had a 4-day trip to Pisa, Italy. And the good thing about being married to a flight attendant, besides her being gone 10 days a month, and that's just a cheap joke, is that I fly for free and I get health benefits. What more could you ask for? Anyway, she has a 4-day trip to Pisa, Italy, which is a beautiful, smaller city in Italy. But everybody, of course, has heard about the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which I will show you in a minute as soon as my producer puts it up on the screen. And let's see if he's working on that now. How's that going, Mr. Producer? And by the way, if you'd like to see the Leaning Tower, I certainly suggest that you go to elkinsandfreedman.com. ELKINS and ANDFREDMAN. You can watch us live. And here we are. I'm looking at the Leaning Tower right now, and it sure is leaning. I also have some other photos that I could share with you, but maybe we'll do that later on. But I do think there's one more. Another beautiful thing about Pisa, Italy, you can take the train and go to a lot of different places from there. None more beautiful than Cinque Terre. And I see right now on the screen, and what Cinque Terre is a group of 5 seaside communities, and they are just gorgeous. So if you ever have the chance to do that, I certainly urge you to do that as soon as you can. Now, I happen to know, I'd normally ask Mr. Freedman, so what did you do this weekend? He'd probably say, well, I got a free dinner at Denny's, or I got a, sub at Subway, something boring like that. So, all right, Mr. Freedman, I'll just pretend that the open mic is you responding. Now, as we normally do, I like to get into a story about lawyers behaving badly, and there's been no shortage, and we've been successful every week doing it. And by the way, before I forget, I'd be remiss if I didn't say call us. I'd like to hear from you. That number toll-free is 888-565-1470. So let me know you're out there. Let me know you're breathing. I would really appreciate somebody saying or calling us, even if it's just to say hello. All right, so our lawyer behaving badly story tonight involves an attorney who apparently was working for a prominent firm. There was an author that came to the law firm, and this author brought with her an individual who's going to invest in a movie, a film adaptation of one of the author's novels. And they were going to use this law firm and a lawyer specific by the name of Mark Briggs to act as the production's lawyer. So what happened? They deposited $1 million into the attorney's trust account only to, and I'll quote, systematically transfer almost all the money out of the film's production accounts and into accounts that he controlled. Now it gets better. It says eventually when he used the money to purchase a bar called Sugar Daddy's Nightclub in South Scottsdale. So again, we have an attorney working for a prominent firm. A well-known author comes in there. It says that they have an investor. This person invests $1 million for a film adaptation of one of the books. They deposit the money slowly to be fleeced by the attorney. Now, initially, when the attorney was caught, he tried instead to claim that he had a certain investment strategy and that he was actually trying to manage the money, so I guess that it would increase in value. And actually, then it says verbatim, Briggs, again, the attorney's name, blamed this individual for not understanding his investment strategy. So ultimately, he's caught. He has to pay the money back, and he does pay the money back. So then what does this son of a gun do? He has the audacity to send her a bill for $350,000. So I just love that story. Fleece the client, get caught, make up some crap, give the money back, and then turn around and bill him for $350,000. So hopefully they just bar this son of a gun, and that's our story for attorneys behaving badly. So what did you think of that, Mr. Freedman? Pretty fascinating. Yes, Alan, I think it was. See, Mr. Freedman's actually being a little more vocal than usual tonight. All right, now, nextly, next I should say, and I'm going to get to some serious legal issues because there's plenty to talk about, but two stories just came up out of the blue, which I have to address. The first one I read about actually when I was in Italy, and it's Dateline São Paulo, Brazil. And what happened is that a soccer match was taking place, and one of the players got involved in a dispute with the referee. And apparently there was some bad blood, I guess, from a match earlier in the week. So what happens? The referee pulls out a knife during the second argument and stabs the player to death. Now, this is during a match, stabs the player to death. So what happened? Ambulance comes, hauls him away. Well, the spectators, friends and family go out onto the field. They rush the guy. They rush the referee. What do? They take the referee and they quarter him. Now, I thought I knew what quarter means, and actually it does mean cutting a person up. I don't know if it means necessarily in quarters, but they quartered this guy on the field, okay? And it gets more, and I'm going to read it verbatim. They decapitated him, it was a referee named Silva, and stuck his head on a stake in the middle of the field. All right, so, I thought hockey was the most violent sport that we have here in the States, but my goodness, everybody's heard that some of those football or soccer matches are crazy, but that's just an unbelievable example. And there we have a soccer player. I don't know that that's the guy that was stabbed. Is that the guy that was my producer shaking his head? This is the poor son of a gun that was stabbed, and I believe he was 30. And I saw a picture of the referee earlier. I probably should have sent it. The producer would have had it up on the screen, but decapitated in front of everybody. So I think I won't be taking any trips to São Paulo in the near future. All right. So I was at this point I would normally turn to the legal issues of the day. However, my son, who's waiting on a plane in New York, says, man, I just saw a story you can't believe. This is Dateline China. And I'll read the caption. 41-year-old woman kills man by squeezing his junk. And I should let it be known, these articles just find me. I don't necessarily go out looking for them. I usually look for, news of the weird. So I hope the audience doesn't think, wow, all this show is about her testicles and penises and whatnot. So don't want you to think that. But I can't look at an article like this and not address it. So here's what happened. A Chinese mother has gone on trial accused of killing a man by squeezing his testicles so hard that he died of shock. It says the woman was picking up her son from school when she got into a row with a shopkeeper after parking her electric bike in front of the store. The 42-year-old man came out of the shop and told her she couldn't leave her bike there. Couldn't leave the bike there. And the pair reportedly got into a shouting match. Here's Mr. Freedman's just arrived. He's going to walk in front of the camera. Go ahead, just walk in front of the camera. Look at that. He's here.
Oh boy, what a day. What a day.
What a day. We'll talk about it, but I'm reading an article even you don't know about.
Oh, yeah?
It's a man who had his testicles squeezed so hard that he died. True story. By a Chinese woman. I don't think it was our secretary, Melissa. Happens to be Chinese, although I'm sure she liked to squeeze Mr. Freedman's testicles until he died. Anyway, it says, a fight ensued. Let me see. The 42-year-old man came out of the shop and told her that she could not leave her bike, and the pair reportedly got in a shouting match. A fight ensued with the woman calling her brother and husband to help. It says she reportedly grabbed the man by the testicles and squeezed him so hard that his body went into shock. According to one witness's report, as she held him in a vice-like grip, she shouted, quote, I'll squeeze it to death. You'll never have children again. Okay? It says the man was pictured lying on the ground being treated by paramedics before being rushed to the hospital, but nothing could be done to save him. Then a well-known urologist here in San Diego says it's quite plausible that testicle squeezing could have caused the man's death. Says they're extremely sensitive to touch, and they're, let me see, it says, and when there is excessive force applied, there's a huge release of adrenaline. It says testicular pain is referred to the lower abdomen. It says, and causes men to stop abruptly what they were doing, lie on the ground, close their eyes, and bend their knees. Heart attacks certainly could result from severe testicular pain from squeezing. So, and now she's being charged with she's on a murder charge.
I missed the first part. This was his wife or a friend?
No, it wasn't his wife. Now, let me ask you, okay, you set me up. Has your wife ever squeezed your testicles so hard that you've actually passed out?
No.
No? All right, well, that's good to know. All right, so Mr. Freedman, while we were waiting for you, we talked about a lawyer behaving badly, and I mentioned this to you at lunch. The lawyer put some money in his trust account check and to have a movie made, spent the money to buy a bar, got caught, repaid the money, and then sent her a bill for $350,000. So
for a movie to get made?
Yeah. Originally, the money was put. He was going to act as the attorney production, attorney for the whole production.
Okay.
So he held the money into his trust account. Oh, you're slowing me down again. You got to get here on time.
Well, the traffic was terrible. Number one, and our whole computer system in the office went down today.
We did.
I don't know if you were aware of that.
Yeah, the computer system went down. Is it fixed now?
It's fixed now.
Yeah?
It's all working. The internet's back up, so we're good to go.
So if anybody wants to look at the internet from our office, all they have to do is look at elkinsandfreedman.com, or they can go on their own computer if their internet's working, elkinsandfreedman.com. Now call us somebody. I want to know somebody's actually out there breathing. 888-565-1470. All right, so we've talked about the soccer referee. I told you that story,
That's
right? Crazy story.
You're talking about the one in Brazil?
Yeah, cut the guy's head, put it on a stake.
But who did the cutting? This was a
crazy fans and relatives of the player that was stabbed to death by the referee.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. All right, so now I figure, all right, I've heard enough moaning from some people that we don't have enough legal issues involved in the case. So I figured here I have a smorgasbord of articles, Mr. Freedman, to talk about. Smorgasbord. The first one I probably should have mentioned last week, and that has to do with the Supreme Court ruling that part of the Defense of Marriage Act was unconstitutional. Okay. Now, for those out there that aren't familiar with it, that there were those that there was a law in effect that essentially said you couldn't have same-sex marriages. So the Supreme Court in a decision said no. That's we're going to rule that part of that federal law is unconstitutional, and there was also a law in California that was overturned allowing same sexes to get married. I understand that's legal in 13 states. So what happens isn't so much that that the Supreme Court made its ruling, and of course gay men and lesbian women were certainly overjoyed and are free to get married or to have full rights in those states, but it presents some interesting issues, such as legally sex same, whether or not they can receive, be treated for taxes as a married couple.
Right.
And that's certainly significant. There are certain tax savings to many couples that file as married.
So do they have that right to file jointly and
Well, they
get the same
do.
tax benefits as a man and a woman who are married?
But it's interesting because I don't know that it's necessarily been decided whether or not that applies in all states, or if it would just be in those 13 states where marriages of same sex are legal. Same thing would apply for Social Security benefits. Think about that.
Yeah.
Wide-reaching consequences being able to go ahead and take the Social Security benefits. In fact, I had a question today. Could a gay couple now come into our office and say, hey, we were married legally in California, we want to get divorced? Do they have a right to go ahead and do that at Florida? Can I file a divorce here in Florida for somebody that's legally married in another state? I know.
I would think so.
Yeah, people come to us now. We were married in Michigan. We moved down
So
here.
they're
we
married to the other end of the world.
Other end of the world.
And they can come here and get divorced as long as they've been here 6 months. They meet
So
the
listen,
residency
I'll tell
requirement.
you, if you're a gay couple or a lesbian couple, freely or legally married, tell you what, how about if we do a free divorce? I'd love the publicity. You come to our office as long as it's an uncontested divorce.
Or even if it's
we'll
contested,
divorce
you know
for
what?
free.
We'll do a contested one.
Do you think
That would
so?
even be better.
Contested? All right.
Contested.
Court costs additional, but
Oh, that
legal
goes
fee-
without saying.
legal fees on
Let's do
us.
the first one that comes to our office. Free divorce, whether it's contested, uncontested, no matter what the issues are.
All right. You're
We'll do
gay.
it.
You want a divorce? Come to us. We'll do it for free.
Right.
Okay,
Just
that's
bring, I
in
guess they should
Florida.
probably bring in their marriage license.
Yeah.
That they would show that they were married in another state.
Yeah, and I think it interesting. Sorry, so we're putting that out there. The other thing, that dawned on me just this weekend, flying. When you fly back from out of the country, they give you a customs declaration, and they say fill out one per family. So now the question is, okay, if you come from a state where you're legally married, you only have to fill out one form, or because it's actually federal in nature, I tend to think that it doesn't matter actually what state you're from, that, fill out one form. Hey, we're a family.
Right.
So I thought that was an interesting article. Well,
But I think the federal government, if you got married in a state that recognizes, same-sex marriage, then I think the federal government has to recognize that as far as filing joint tax returns, Social Security
absolutely.
benefits.
Yeah.
I don't think they can deny that to you.
Yeah, no question. I don't think the federal government right now, because that was held unconstitutional, I think that somebody could apply if they've been together for whatever, the 10 years or whatever, that they can get the Social Security benefits of the other.
Right.
And of course, think of the effect this will have too, even insurance, right? Insuring somebody under Obamacare.
Oh, yeah, health insurance, car insurance too.
Car insurance, it's absolutely. So, this is going to be an issue that's going to be around for a long time. I realize, I know you've only been here 5 minutes, but we're 20 after almost, so why don't we go ahead and take a break now?
All right,
do that,
and we'll be
come
right
back.
back after a word from our sponsor, which is us.
That's right. Yeah.
Life is so overwhelming right now. The emotional and financial challenges are too much. More debt than you can possibly handle? Facing divorce or other family law problems? Injured and don't know where to turn? Where can I get solid, affordable legal guidance? At Elkins Freedman, an experienced lawyer will explain options and treat you with humanity. They help people throughout Central and South Florida solve these problems. This is a law firm you can trust, and they actually pick up the phone. They have a 30-year track record of positive results, and they make legal costs manageable for people from all walks of life. Make the call, 1-800-992-1277, or visit them on the web at elkinsandfriedman.com. When you visit, you might even meet Tiffany, the office mascot. Elkins Freedman, take the intimidation and worry out of getting the legal help you really need. Call today, 1-800-992-1277, and begin to make sense of your life. Folks, when facing the decision to choose a nursing facility for yourself or a loved one, whether you're prepared for that or not, it can be one of today's most difficult decisions. When you, your spouse, or your parents need short-term rehabilitation after leaving a hospital, or long-term care, choosing a facility for placement could be one of the most difficult choices you'll ever make. But it doesn't have to be. For such an important decision, what can help you the most is a provider that's always ready to give you the knowledge and trust you need to make informed choices with confidence and peace of mind. That's why you should call Hamlin Place of Boynton Beach at 561-582-3000. The friendly and professional staff at Hamlin Place are waiting now to help you make the best choice you can based on your loved one's individual needs. Just call 561-582-3000 and schedule a visit to Hamlin Place so you can learn about the many programs they have available. At Hamlin Place Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, they offer excellent courteous service and delicious nutritional meals in a clean, modern, and comfortable setting provided by their compassionate, caring staff of physicians, nurses, and therapists. Call Hamlin Place at 561-582-3000, where they can actively involve the family in the recovery process to restore the maximum level of independence in the shortest possible time. Call today, 561-582-3000, or come to Hamlin Place, where caring is our way of life.
And we're back, everybody. I'm Alan Elkins, along with
Richard Freedman from the Elkins and Freedman law firm.
All right, so Richard, I think since we're on a roll with legal issues, the other huge story that's probably known internationally is the Trayvon Martin murder trial that's going on right now, where George Zimmerman is on trial for murder of
Second
Trayvon
degree
Martin.
murder.
Second degree, you're correct. So we know it wasn't premeditated, which of course is first degree murder. The thing about that case is most people are probably aware the prosecution is rested now, and now it's just a question of the defense presenting their evidence, and we don't know whether or not Mr. Zimmerman's going to be called as a witness.
No, he probably won't. But what was interesting is they had last week, I guess, Trayvon Martin's mother testified that the screams and the yelling were
definitely
her son's,
him.
And then Mr. Zimmerman's mother testified.
Today, actually, on the stand.
Yeah,
I actually just read, just before we went on air, that today, I read that I thought it was his father testifying. You're right, it might have been his mother last week, but father testifying that the screams were those of her son, Mr. Zimmerman. So listen, we bantered back and forth, and we're not here to say what's going to happen and this and that, because honestly, I don't have a clue. But I did see an article that I thought was interesting because it cleared up some fallacies in the case, and I think I'm going to read them. Right. So here's number one. It says, on the night of the shooting, the police ordered Zimmerman to stay in his vehicle. Is that true or false? Okay, and here's the answer. Are you following him, the operator for Sanford Police's non-emergency line, asked Zimmerman, and he goes, yeah. The dispatcher on the phone tells him, quote, we don't need you to do that. So there was a question, whether or not the police said, yeah, follow the guy, don't follow him, and they were non-committal. They said, we don't need you to do that.
But supposedly, he wasn't obligated to listen, to follow that instruction. So he didn't violate any law by ignoring that instruction.
In fact, it says here that I guess the dispatcher said it's their policy not to give orders to callers. It says, quote, we're directly liable if we give a direct order. See everybody covering their butt here. It says we always try to give general basic, not commands, just suggestions. So the quote, we don't need you to do that, is different from saying don't do that.
Right.
So they didn't specifically say, hey, quit following the guy. So this guy did it on his own. Number two, okay, people have heard. Martin broke Zimmerman's nose. I remember hearing that at some point. Do you or no?
Yeah, vaguely remember that, sure.
Here's what it says. According to the report filed by the Sanford police on the night of the shooting, Zimmerman's face was bloodied and it appeared to me that his nose was broken. It says Officer Meade made a similar observation, but according to police reports, Zimmerman declined an opportunity to be transported to the hospital in order to be examined by a doctor. So we don't know if his nose was broken or not.
That's true.
So all you have is the police saying, I think it was. So, okay, number three, the widely circulated photo that everybody saw of Trayvon Martin in the Hollister suit appears to show him, at least it was said, shows him much younger than he was on the night that he died.
Well, yeah, that definitely was. He was much younger looking in that picture.
But listen to this. This is kind of interesting. He was young looking in the picture. However, it says Martin family attorney Benjamin Crump said that the Hollister t-shirt photo of Trayvon was taken in August 2011 when he was 16 years old. That was 6 months before he turned 17 on February 5th, 2012. He was killed 3 weeks after that. So the truth is, so
3
you're
weeks
from
after the picture was taken.
So it wasn't that long to be candid. So it went from the picture taken August 2011 to, it looks like in March is when he was killed, or March 26, give or take. So kind of interesting. So
Right,
actually,
because a lot of people thought that picture was taken years and years earlier.
yeah, apparently that's not true. And of course, there's a lot of controversy now about Florida's stand your ground law and whether or not we'd repeal it. And what it says here is that 24 states have adopted that kind of legislation, which says you have the right to act in self-defense against potential, let's see here. It says the Sunshine State amended its self-defense law to allow potential victims to stand their ground against an assailant by removing the duty to retreat. So you're permitted to meet force with force, including deadly force. So the fact of the matter is that although there was some talk that maybe Florida would change the law, they haven't. So we still do have the stand your ground is in effect. So there is no duty to retreat. And then lastly here, and I find this very interesting, it says on the night of the attack, Zimmerman made racial slurs that proved his prejudice toward Martin, true or untrue. And initially, some people interpreted the sounds that came across as incorrect. It was F blank blank ing, and then they used a derogatory, I'm running out of time. Apparently, the actual words that were used were effing punks. So those are the actual words. So some people have tried to paint this as strictly racial, but truth be known, and everybody is in agreement, what the tape actually proved is that it wasn't a racial slur. And as a matter of fact, there was some testimony, you know, that Trayvon Martin's girlfriend was one of her, or his lady friend in Miami, I believe.
The one that testified?
It testified, and apparently that there was some conversation where he referred to Zimmerman as a creepy A blank blank cracker. So, listen, the truth is, by the time we're on air next week, or you're on air because I'll be on vacation, maybe we'll have a verdict on the case. So I know I guess we're coming up. We have 1 minute left. So let me just tell you, I am going on my official vacation now, which is going to be in the south of France.
Where in the south of France?
Well, I rented an apartment in Nice. And from there,
that sounds nice.
Nice is nice, as a matter of fact. Yeah, you cracked yourself up with that.
Are you bringing your dog with you?
I'm not. I'm leaving my baby home. Believe me, I thought about it. I forget the
France,
kids.
I mean, people take dogs into restaurants and all over the place.
I didn't think about the kids at all. The dog, my wife says, "You take the dog." I said, "No, the place we're staying, no dogs." So, but you know, due to our communications abilities, I'll be FaceTiming my dog every night, so
I'm sure.
So she'll be fine. So Mr. Freedman will be flying solo, so
yeah, it'll be an interesting
experience. And I'll try to call. If it's not too late, I'll try to call in the show.
If it's not past your bedtime, please call us.
That's right. So we want to hear from you guys. Anyway, that's it. Why don't you take us out of here, Richard?
All right. So again, I hope everyone enjoyed the show this evening. Sorry I was late, but we had an emergency in the office. Our computer system went down, but it's corrected, so we're in good shape. So we'll see you next week. I'll be here, same time, same place, and might have a special guest. And we'll save that announcement for next week. So everybody, again, have a good evening, and we'll see you next Monday at 6 o'clock.
Good night, everybody.
Listening to the Elkins and Freedman Know Nothing Show, where maybe you learned a little something today. To reach their offices, call 954-772-6014 or toll free 1-800-992-1277. Tune in again next time for more Elkins and Freedman. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, sponsors.